Hey, what's good, YouTube? It's your man Ronin. It's been a little bit, and just to keep you guys abreast of what's been going on, required some new technology, some new things I had to take care of offline. So that's why I've been away for a little bit. But this definitely ties into today's video. And I want to say much love to the AGAMENATION. Shout out to all my peers who are forward progressive, looking to do the damn thing as women, but especially men out in this game. And before I get into the video, which will be titled The Economy of Time, this is brought to you by the Black Manosphere magazine. You can find this on Amazon. You actually get a Kindle. Definitely it's about the business, and it definitely ties into what I'm going to do with this video today. I want you to take a good look at this for yourselves. Okay? Sear that into your memory. Because that is an example of piss poor economy of time. But I'm going to open up with this. As men of sound principles and purpose, it is our duty to master the art of masculine agriculture, properly sowing seeds of influence, leadership, and legacy while pruning the weeds and rot around and within us. However, we also need to master the masculine war within, with tempered discipline, discernment, and direction to ward off all enemies to our evolution and empowerment, both foreign and domestic. The gardener and the warrior walk shoulder to shoulder within us and must work in tandem to properly lead and protect those under our charge, yet more importantly, our sanity and spiritual integrity. Now, this is something I wrote a few days ago. It just came to mind, and I felt like sharing it with my brothers because in this space, unfortunately, it's been inundated with goofiness. Hence the title, The Economy of Time. Whatever happened to rites of passage, which are always used as valued and important footnotes of progress, being it from a child to a young boy to a young man to an adult to an elder, and so on. Legacy, increments of time, as far as what we've done in that span of time, what we learned, what we acquired, what we've amassed in that finite resource that many of us squander. And when it's time for us to transition, or at least before it's time, what are we willing to pass on? That is not only tangible, but intangible and invaluable, that will set the next generation ahead, not behind. These are many things as men we need to address in the here and now. Because unless you want to remain hidden under a rock, you see what all is going on out here. There's a lot of individuals who feel it is beneficial to be professional bullshit artists. And yeah, you can make a whole lot of money in the distribution, creation, and the consumption of bullshit. However, it's how it's being applied. In good context, as men in everyday life, we are handed truckloads of bullshit. Be it in platonic relationships, intimate relationships, social relationships, how our appearances apply to us, be it we do it ourselves or with the assistance of an anti-male society. And as men, when we're talking about a masculine agriculture, we can take said bullshit and convert it into something more fruitful. Use it as an opportunity to use the seeds of greatness we have within ourselves and sow that into our brothers. That way we know how to share our experiences and help those our juniors, our peers, and even our senior navigate through the bullshit to be fruitful and prosper in spite of the goofiness. But in a negative context, when we talk about bullshit has limited mobility. As we can see in many internet echo chambers or Mandingo fight circuits. You hear the same old rhetoric, ashy dick analytics, or redundant talking points that are used to shame and demean individuals who would much less find it beneficial to grandfather these weenies into sex. It's more like shaming tactics with hints of factoids, but used to bludgeon people into the bedroom, because usually it doesn't go any further. Bullshit, as I said, has very limited mobility. It get kicked around. It can be used, but the thing is, when you don't have control of the bullshit, you're set to be consumed. You're going to be used because you don't find your time nor what you have within you as useful. Thing is about placement, what you choose to be. See, when I told you about showed you the report card, it's one of the many things that some among us tend to run from readily. It's one thing to be your brother's keeper. Granted, you do what you can to set a positive example. Be counterculture into a society that says you're not worth anything, or you're all these demeaning things, or these gross exaggerations of propaganda. As men, we're supposed to oppose environment. We're supposed to set the examples that make people question all the bullshit that they've been programmed to believe. However, when you work on an inverse value system, a backwards value system, all you do is perpetuate these negative stereotypes via your actions, words, and intent. And whenever those three things do not work in concert, you become bullshit. You support bullshit. You become the exemplary example of bullshit. That's what you pass on. That's what you consume. That's what you thrive on. When it comes to this, 10 life values, when I speak on the economy of time, we'll start from the bottom and go up. When it comes to your wealth, you know you have a finite resource with your time, which means you learn to invest, not just your money, which is a currency or an energy. You learn to invest more into yourself, wealth of information, wealth of influence, and so on. You start building up the economy of credibility as a man. That way, people see and feel and understand not just how you spend your time, but how important your time is to you. This is where SOS comes into play, system, order, and structure, which helps increase the wealth. And it goes all up in here, but we're starting here first. As far as your leisure, I say that's another part of the economy of time. How you spend your time. Are you able to get that spiritual recharge? Are you able to, be motivated to work your way back to spending more leisure time that is constructive to you? Are you able to get that level of sleep, rest, bring your mind at ease, understanding that if you work hard, you play hard? Learn how to lead by example in your leisure time as well. As far as your profession, it's what you do. It's what you learn. Because these two tend to go hand in hand here. But when it comes to your profession, part of it is paying yourself. Paying yourself attention, which goes into your health and the internal five. But we're talking about not just getting paid for what you do, but learning everything you need to learn to make things easier, to work smarter, not harder. That's part of the economy of time. using your intelligence to make it easier with your profession. Make yourself trustworthy, doing everything you need to do close to perfection, if not achieving perfection as best as possible, which helps with your reputation. So your reputation should precede you in what you do. Good and bad it can. But when you become a sensible giver to yourself, you can achieve these three things mainly: wealth, leisure, profession. The education part, it goes into well beyond the halls of misinformation or wherever you go to learn your craft. The most important school is learning yourself. Learning the importance of how to spend your time. Sure, it's good to have a laugh. Learn how to laugh at yourself. Sometimes using anger as righteous anger to get shit done. The poem I read to you earlier is about the economy of time, learning to walk that fine line between being the gardener and the warrior. There's a time to sit there and actually sow seeds correctly. And there's another time to kick ass and take names. Be that battlefield diplomat. When it comes to education, you start learning how to properly code switch in this game. That's how you maneuver. That's how you use your education, your profession, your leisure, your wealth to help you move around, which goes into mobility. It's not just everything you learn and everything you do. The mobility part requires you to be a contributor of your time. If it be it leisure time, not just, or as far as your time in investing into a movement or legislation or things to help your people move forward. This is more than just yourself. It's more for your brothers and those around you, your people. Because you lead by example by how you move, how you generate mobility, how you think, and what you learn. In certain circles, you have talking parrots repeating the same old redundant conversations, but you see how they move. They're very limited. There are far too many individuals who are red pill on in cyberspace. When really the definition is seeing reality for what it is and adjusting accordingly. Some people take these things a little too literal because they refuse to exercise mobility away from the laptop or the fantasy you see online. You gotta be able to move. Faith without works is dead. But that'll lead into something else a little bit later. Now we're talking about the internal fire of your dwelling. It isn't just where you live. It's the environment you create. Wherever you dwell, not just physically, but mentally. That will see if you properly invest your time or squander it. But you can look online and offline, you see where people tend to dwell on a mental or spiritual sense. And many times you can hear in a person's conversation where they tend to dwell. Some believe that cutting themselves in a cyber sense is beneficial. Bleeding online. Leaving unattended wounds in cyberspace are badges of honor, but really, those are stripes of insignificance. Stripes of brokenness. Shout out to my brother Sheep Stay Sleep, who always says heal before you build. And this part right here, this leads into the eternal five mainly. Because if you dwell in a certain places or certain mindsets for too long, you waste time, precious time, which eats away at your appearance, at your family, your health, and spiritually, and everything else in this circle. It's not just what you think, but where you choose to stay. This is why I always say never allow your comfort zone to become your coffin. Now, for example, I've used myself to gauge what am I doing right and wrong. And I've had individuals tell me what I needed to hear. Some things that kind of cut a little bit, but I needed that. I demanded the truth from them. But some individuals think it's cool to be edutarded, doing goofiness. When you take constructive criticism, you start learning, like, you know what? I need to step outside my comfort zone and work on certain things. I'm not great at certain things, but I'm going to have to fix it. That's why I always say, untuck your nuts, fellas. The appearance. How much time do you work on how you appear, not just in the mirror, but with your reputation? Again, I said your reputation does precede you. But it's not just what you wear. It's also what you do. It's also how you think, how you move, how you speak. When you listen to certain people, sometimes you'll listen to them speak death into themselves and situations. Now, when it comes to your appearance, who do you associate with? Who you hang around with? We see a lot of these goofies being revealed in this age of the truth. You can no longer hide anymore. And if you find company and solace among parasites across the board, this will greatly suffer. And people will see you as a liability, or worse, instead of an asset, a reliable one that is beneficial, not just to themselves, but to people. Then we talk about this dreaded value here, family. See, all of this ties in together, but mainly with family. That's also an economy of time. You have individuals who are talking about fornication without foresight, creating broken families, which means a lot of individuals are stealing people's time, especially yours. As much as sex can be great, there's time you can't get back when you have that fornication without foresight. And you find many ways and excuses to fuck yourselves out of credibility and time from others. We never talk about why the children are forced to settle for substandard parenting, substandard examples of the future and the present. And we talk about health. When it comes to economy of time, many of us are all about grind mode. Or we're talking about I'm on my purpose. But if you're not mentally sound, if you're not physically fit, if you're unable to continue, if you're lacking in many of these areas, we don't put in proper time into this, all of this will suffer. There's been many times that we can admit we worked ourselves to the point where our body is stolen sleep. There are many issues that linger that we don't want to address and we run from. Either you die tired, or it gets to the point where it will force feed itself to you. You're going to address me right here and now, or we're not going to go any further. Many of the individuals who come with these circular talking points or these ashy dick analytics, those are examples of individuals who are squandering their time running from themselves. As men of principle and purpose, we're supposed to face that shit, fix that shit, and either get the fuck away from that shit or make certain we don't run into that same lesson over again. The last one, spiritual. If you don't get a hold of this, knowing who you are, what you stand for, what you want, none of this matters because it is subject to corruption. Many times been said before. See, my brothers, not just in the A-Game family, but out here, we know. The internal five is important. As men, and I'm going to encourage my brothers out there, you don't always have to make six figures. What point is it to make six figures or better when you refuse to figure yourself out? See, it's not just the money, which is good. You need money to move around this economy and make things happen for yourself. But let's just say everything falls to shit. This is going to be key. Who are you? What are you about? What are you rooted in? See, many a man, they do have 6, 7, 8 figures or better. But a lot of them are spiritually bankrupt here. And we can see in your actions. We can see in your mindset. We can see how you move and think. This will reveal a great deal of where you are here. If you need time off to take care of you, self-care, that's one of the greatest investments you can make as a man. I say women, but I'm talking to the brothers here. You never allow individuals to shame you, to grind yourself to a pulp, to meet a certain monetary value, to appease people who don't give a complete fuck about you in the first place. When you're wealthy here, all of this will mean everything. And here's the secret. You will be envied by individuals who have the external 5, maybe more than you do. But how you live and view yourself, this will show you how poverty-stricken they are here or in many other areas. This will help maximize this. But if you have an abundance of this and you have little to any of this, this will be the greatest hit you'll feel, at least a second, to right here. It's all in a circle. And I say in closing, as always, never allow your comfort zone to become your coffin. That in itself is a shout out to your economy of time. Excuses are nothing but pink slips to your purpose. You took an excuse absence day or week or month or years. Wasted creativity. We are the miracles we've been waiting on. Some of us are electricians. Some of us are chefs. As I always say, all of us are respective artists on our respective canvas. You see, you can eventually make those numbers that people talk about. But the biggest investments need to start here, 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 and here. When you get those 5 taken care of, all of this will come in due season. All of it. This isn't key. It's a spiritual warfare dealing with values. How do you value yourself? What are you willing to do in the economy or the investment of your time? Soul within, souls without. You gotta work from the inside out, fellas. I said, instant gratification is the death of those who live in the inverse value system. That's why I got mad love for my peers, my OG, Dr. Holman, Chief Stay Sleep, Ebo Sosa, the Crimson Cure, the Bishop, so many others that I've grown to know, respect, and admire, either from afar or close. Because they have a measure of internal wealth that will gradually or is already starting to show externally. That's what it comes down to, the economy of time. What's in your spirit? Semper Fi.